This is Gateway City Sports.
It's a trap!
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
This is the Team of Rivals podcast.
Everything you want to hear from the big sports to the big screen.
He's all by himself, fires into the end zone. Caught! Touchdown! No!
Vaughn into the windup in his first offering. Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
He doesn't like you. I don't like you either.
Time winding down, Michael for three. Yes! She is gone!
I don't believe what I just saw.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! You believe in miracles?
You may fire when ready.
What?
Really feeling a lot like Harry Doyle tonight. I don't know which is my favorite. Just a reminder, fans, coming up is our Die Hard night here at the stadium. Free admission to anyone who was actually alive the last time the Indians won a pennant. Or if it's this show is brought to you by... Christ, I can't find it. To hell with it. Good evening, Cubs and Cardinals fans. It's Thursday, February 10th. This is the Team of Rivals podcast. We are proud members of the Gateway City Sports Network, where you can find great podcast and blog content. You can follow us online at teamofrivalspodcast.com. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and Rumble at Team of Rivals Podcast, and we're on Twitter and Getter at Team of Rivals Pod. And for those of you who are watching us live, what the fuck is the matter with you? Hit the like and subscribe buttons and be sure to ring that bell on YouTube and Rumble so that you receive notifications anytime we post new content. Look, I'll admit it. I'm a bit salty tonight. I warned Elliot and Ron that I was already having a bad day and it was only bound to get worse. I mean, between that flaccid attempt at Star Wars that got thrown onto the internet last night or yesterday morning, and then Gerritt Cole coming out and telling us that baseball players are here to protect the integrity of baseball. This is going to be a multiple beer podcast. I can tell you that. I'm going to save some of my more clever comments because I actually spent time thinking about what I was going to say tonight as we talk. But joining me for tonight's show, co-founder of the Team of Rivals and number 104, the 2021 edition of the Top Cards on Twitter, Ron Nuttall, and also permanent occasional guest host, Elliot Dewey. Gentlemen, is it even worth it to try and cheer me up, or can you bring nothing optimistic to the table?
Yeah, I don't have much. I probably feel the same way you do about the one subject you brought up. I'm kind of giggling at the other. But I'm also... You know,
the sad thing is I can't tell which one you're referring to.
That's fine. That's why we're going to reveal, right? I was talking to Elliot about this while you were struggling, with your Mac. And I think that those who own a MacBook or a MacBook Pro, whatever it is, like I can't see much. I'm on iTunes, Apple TV, Watch, all the stuff, right? So that's kind of like mainstream norm. Like you're kind of like that's your best option for most people, I think, for just about anything you want to consolidate. I think owning a Mac or a MacBook Pro, I think it's a total snob flex, and Elliot agrees.
I'm not going to deny it. I'm a snob. You've known that since we met.
Yeah, I didn't think you'd own it that hardcore. I thought you would get defensive, but okay, fine.
Ron, you know how much I've spent on some of my single malt liquors.
No, I actually, we've never had that conversation.
Oh, okay. Well, I tell you what, I'll bring one down the next time I come to visit. We can discuss it.
Okay. So you heard me bitching about not being able to find Blanton's for under $150 online.
I did.
Yeah.
But that's not a snob flex.
That's just having good taste, right?
Okay, if that's what you want to call it.
I'm not sure Knob Creek qualifies as good taste, but it was like the pickings were pretty slim at ABC today. So,
fellas,
yep.
Hey, how about a little bit of optimism? Rob Manfred says,
I've got a clip if you want me to play it.
Please. But before you do, how about some optimism? We know for certain now the DH is most definitely coming to the NL next year.
Yep.
Baseball will have the DH.
It's good.
All right.
Okay,
There he
good.
is.
Let's
There
burn
is.
it all
There-
down.
there
Go
it
ahead, Ron.
is.
We've proposed an agreement that is better in every respect than the expired contract. For the first time in history, and despite substantial opposition by some clubs, we've agreed to institute a draft lottery to address the players' concern about clubs not competing. We've agreed to a universal designated hitter and the elimination of draft choice compensation. These changes will improve the free agent market by creating additional jobs that are often filled by veteran players and by actually eliminating the drag from compensation.
What a stupid son of a bitch.
Is it just me, or does he sound a little bit like Donald Trump?
What a stupid son of a bitch.
The big breathy in between sentences. And
What a
everything
stupid
is the
son of a
best.
bitch.
That guy or Manfred?
We've got a great proposal.
Oh,
even,
you're talking.
even despite despite some of the things that some of the people on my side don't want. I told them, I said, this is important. We got to do this. We got to get rid of this. I know you clubs don't want this, but we're going to do this.
Yeah, you're kind of right. If you could have an impersonator actually read Manfred's statement over in impersonating Trump, it'd probably sound pretty natural.
Yep.
Thank you.
Has he called again? I saw that
No.
our Google Voice is our numbers being threatened.
It is being
Do I
threatened.
need to call it?
I think we have to use it or something. I don't want it.
Do we have to use it, or somebody has to call
I
us?
don't
Braden
really
needs
care.
to start calling that instead of your phone.
Braden needs to start using that to call Bud.
I'd like to know who called Bud from that number. We still have not uncovered that mystery.
That would be amazing. 'Cause we've had that number for a while.
Yeah, a couple of years.
So either
probably.
somebody has hijacked our number, or else somebody called him from that number a long, long time ago, and he finally got around to
He's not
being
good.
pissed off at us.
He's had enough, man. He didn't work his whole life. He didn't work his whole life for this.
It took 6 years to build up before he finally picked up the phone.
He snapped. Well, they put him in that home. Can't take it anymore.
Maybe.
Poor Bud. We're here for you, Bud. Pun intended. All right.
Call us.
Yeah. So the
Yeah.
DH.
All right.
Yes. We knew the DH was coming.
So the thing that pissed me off, and I don't know where you
All right.
guys land on this, but still, the fact that Gerritt effing Cole came out and had that MLBPA wasn't smart enough to think that maybe putting out a $300 million contract player who is known, who basically admitted without admitting it that he has cheated, that he used spider tack in order to increase his spin rates and blow up his stats so that he could land a big contract. You sent that guy out to talk about the integrity of the game. Okay, so let's separate it from Gerritt Cole. Okay, the players are the ones protecting the integrity of the game. The guys who knowingly use foreign substances in order to increase their spin rates and in order to improve their ability to pitch beyond the normal bounds of what the human body can do. The guys who knowingly, and I don't care that the owners looked the other way, the guys who knowingly injected themselves with illegal substances, with performance-enhancing drugs, knowingly. You're the ones who are protecting the integrity of the game. My God, at least be smart enough to send somebody out as your spokesperson, like Ben Zobrist, who had a 13-year career and earned $78 million over the course of that career. Somebody who had to scratch and claw for his final big contract that he got over the course of 4 years, and I think it was $56 million. His biggest contract in his life. Before he probably retired prematurely, but still, the biggest contract in his life was 4 years and $56 million. And that was 2/3 of his lifetime earnings. He's the guy that you send out and talk about protecting the integrity of the game. A guy who won 2 World Series, who was a World Series MVP, a 3-time All-Star, and who was respected by everybody that he played with on both sides of the ball. His teammates and the guys he competed against. But no, instead, you send out a piece of shit like Gerritt Cole to tell us that the players are the ones protecting the integrity of the game. Honestly, Ron, I'm done with this shit. I'm starting to feel like 1994 again. Like, fuck you both. Fuck you both. I am seriously going to become a fan of soccer, and I'm just done with this because the sanctimony coming from both sides of this has just completely pissed me off.
Yeah, and it's if you've paid attention to Twitter, and I know you're not on it as much, and I'm not as much anymore either, but I posted it throughout the week. I don't know who I get infuriated by hearing from more, whether it's just Bob Manfred's voice or if it's a player talking about this publicly. I don't want to fucking hear from him. I don't. And I get it, right? If there's billions of dollars being made in revenue on this sport every year, a lion's share is going to the owners and the players feel like they deserve more of it. So I understand where all of this is coming from, but still, when the players can't register that you are out here tweeting, talking, doing whatever you're doing to a bunch of people that will never sniff that amount of money in their lifetime, like we don't want to hear I don't want to hear what they have to say. I don't. And Pete, you know me, I don't want to hear what they fucking have to say when times are normal. Okay? Even Max Scherzer, who I've always had a lot of respect for, tweeting his ass off a couple weeks ago about this. I don't want to hear from him either. Like, all of you, shut the fuck up. We don't care what you think. I actually don't care what you guys think. You make millions of dollars. All of you do. I know you worked hard to get where you're at. You're lucky. You're lucky. A lot of people would give their left nut, and Yachty might have, to do what you do for a living. And here you are. What are you bitching about? You're right, Pete. Like, of all people to go up there, can we just fact check somebody before we let them speak for the players union? Like a guy making what, 30 plus? How much is Cole making? He's not 40, right? That's Bauer, who's been awfully quiet, thankfully, because you imagine him right now if he had his mic open. None of that, whatever he was alleged to do, like if that never came to be,
I doubt we hear anything.
He'd be chirping. He would have been chirping since December 2nd about this shit. Yep. So I don't want to hear from any of them, Pete. None. Not interested in what they have to say about this.
Well, and here's another gem from Manfred when somebody asked him, why did it take you 42 days to come to the table? And he said, well, the phones work both ways.
Well,
it's like,
it's true. I mean, you can't argue with him, but
it does, but
well, I look at all of them, Elliot. I think the point is, I've made this before on here. I don't want to make it again, but this is not a deadline that just snuck up on them. Like, they've known this has been out there for
not
years.
At all.
Guys, we've been talking about this for almost 2 years.
Well, we've been worried about it, Pete. I've been worried about it, and as life lined up, I'm like, this couldn't be the worst time for them to be pulling this shit. The absolute worst. I tell you what, man, it's weird. We're in February. Normally in February, what are we like? Right? We're like, fuck, man, just get
pitchers and catchers.
Get spring training started. Yeah. Let's talk about some real baseball instead of all this other crap. Guys, I don't care if we were 6 months out from the season starting. I'm actually not anxious to see it. Isn't that fucking weird? I'm really not. That's how, like, just, I don't know. I wouldn't even say angry, frothing at the mouth like Pete just was a few minutes ago. I'm not even there anymore. I'm starting to not fucking care. I'll find something else to do. We'll change this podcast if we have to.
Speaking of not caring.
I thought last year our excitement was at an all-time low. This year, I feel like it's even worse.
I don't know if this is age hitting us or what, but I look around and take the temperature on Twitter, and there's just some people that they'll tweet out, "I miss baseball" every fucking day, right? That's who they are. It's how they feel about it. I respect that just fine. But I tell you what, man, I don't see as much of that shit as I used to.
No, not anymore.
Hey, you know what? I miss baseball too. But the baseball that I miss, we're not getting back, fellas.
No, I miss steroid era baseball. That was good shit.
Really? I miss 1982 Cardinals era baseball.
I do. I'd take the 80s back any day.
I miss players moving on the bases. Mm-hmm. I miss guys not swinging out of their shoes trying to hit every ball out of the park.
Just not AstroTurf. I don't miss that.
Well, no, nobody does.
I played on that shit once, man. Astros. I whenever you can hold a ball about shoulder high and let it go and it bounces up over your waistline, that's not shit you want to play on.
No.
Not to mention in St. Louis in August when the temperature might be 98 and on the AstroTurf it's 216 degrees.
And it was about that much in the upper deck of the bowl as well.
Probably, yeah. Yeah. I tell you what, man, if you were in direct sunlight in that whole ballpark, you're going to fucking die.
You mean like the game we went to?
One of them we went to, yeah, I almost died.
Yeah, I know. I honestly thought we were going to die. It was so goddamn hot.
It was hot.
I think that was the one where Tony got rung, and I almost got in a fight in the stands because I was chirping, and your fellow Cardinals fans didn't appreciate me.
Was it 2003 when we hated the Cubs even more because they actually were good that year?
Yeah, it might have been.
Oh, bad year to do that.
Yeah,
we saw it coming
because
we saw all the young arms.
Rung.
That's right. We saw all the young arms. We're like, oh shit, man, this guy's got a staff. I don't like this Mark Pryor. He's kind of a dick, but he's good, and I don't like him even more now. He's got a lot of control. Why is he mowing people down? He's throwing it right over the plate. Can't you fucker say, oh, Albert got one.
That's okay. The steroids took care of him.
Took care of a lot of them. But yeah, I think point taken. That's a style of baseball. And somebody tweeted it out a couple weeks ago that, hey, look, if I had my choice right now, steroid era baseball or this shit we've been watching, this analytics era, I'm taking steroid era. It was more exciting. And it was. I mean, it had a little bit of what you're talking about, Pete. It still had the situational baseball. Pretty heavy during the early 2000s, late 90s. It was still situational baseball. There's still a lot of teams that did that. Cardinals were really good at it. I don't know who's done the suicide squeeze play any more than the Cardinals did in the early 2000s. They did it all the time. You just don't see this stuff anymore, right? There's extra things in a game that make it just a little bit more interesting, more exciting. So yeah, I just don't see a lot of it anymore.
Damn it! Now I'm even more pissed off.
Why?
Devin Hester didn't make it into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I just saw.
Oh man, it's just not your day, is it? You know what? It's frustrating. And
hey, here's a little bit of good news. Officially, Cowboy Joe retired, so we don't have to.
You know what? I wish he wouldn't have.
We don't have to see him anymore. But I just wish he would have taken Angel Hernandez with him.
just if he got too close to him, just gravity pulls Angel Hernandez and they both retire. Yeah.
His mass, Joe West's mass is so large that he would just take him with.
It's not just his physical mass; it's his ego. Just the gravity of their egos, man. It would create like a super black hole or something if they got too close to each other. Anyway, yeah. So baseball. At least there's a little bit of talk, a little bit of news. So we talked about the DH up front. Look, we've talked about this for a long time. I'm over being a National League grumpy purist. I like the style. I like the strategy. Blah blah blah. Hey, just let's get it over with. I knew it was coming. So if that's the announcement, it is going to be that. Okay, great. We'll get used to it. You know what? In 5 years, we probably won't care or notice the difference or vaguely remember what it was like when pitchers still hit. It's just like all the other rule changes. Some of them, at least, that have happened years later, we don't really care. Interleague play, don't care anymore. 3 divisions versus or 6 divisions versus 4, don't care anymore. I don't know what I would do if there were only 4 divisions these days, right? That would be strange. So yeah, they've made big changes in baseball before. We'll get over this one. All the partially paying attention, half asleep Facebook group fans, they'll get over it. You wouldn't think so if you went out there and browsed it right now, but they'll get over it. By the way, and I'll come out and say this, per capita, I'd put the Cardinals fan base ahead of any other for some of the dumbest motherfuckers I've ever heard from on this planet.
I was not expecting.
We have got some of the dumbest fans I have ever.
And I will not disagree with you on this, Ryan.
I mean, it is just incredible. And you know what? And obviously I'm hyper focused on the Cardinals fan base. There could be others that are worse. But it's a pretty passionate fan base. It's a pretty big fan base. It's got a wide reach as far as the region goes. Twitter's bad enough. Facebook baseball fans who don't do Twitter or anything else, I mean, dude, I don't have the words. I don't have the words. Dumb asses. A lot of them.
Ron, you've been in the bleachers with me.
Well, there's some.
I know. I've been to Chicago.
You guys a run for our money.
Now look, extreme. We've just got we've got you in numbers. Now you may have an extreme group, a small percentage out there in the bleachers. But yes, I know what you're talking about. I've been out there. I've had beer cups thrown at me before. Been called a hillbilly. Like, I'm from Peoria, right? Whatever.
Hey, speaking of which, I'm going to be in your home area this weekend.
Why?
Not much to brag about. Just
I was going to say, what do you? 4-H festival or something?
Our chess team's going down to state.
Okay.
Congrats
on that.
Speaking of which, my nephew should be finishing up the state championship right now in basketball.
Really?
Junior high.
He's in the okay. Okay.
Yeah, plays for Metcalf.
So on the baseball front, at least spring baseball starting up here, Little League. I'm sure yours is here pretty soon, Pete. Elliot,
he's actually got a skills clinic on Sunday.
See, we got our assessment coming up in a couple weeks too. So I got to get the boys to the cage. We got a text from we got a text from Dustin. He says hillbilly chess. That was all the text read. It was just hillbilly chess. So he's obviously probably watching on YouTube. He's not a social media guy, so he's not going to be touching Facebook or Twitter, Instagram, or anything else. He is anti.
Good man.
He's got his way. Okay, I'm done with baseball. Can we move here real quick to just a bit of football talk, if you don't mind? Or did you have something else you wanted to vent about?
No, I'm actually interested.
I thought you had some kind of audio cue. Ready to
no.
I was quiet.
Some good things, arguably.
I don't know how to read it, man. I mean, it's don't we feel like we've been here before, guys? Where they're making some serious changes. I guess this GM is a lot of good things have been said about this GM that they've put in position. A lot of good things being said about the head coach that they've selected. Yeah, so I mean, I guess that all looks good, but didn't we hear this before? And didn't we hear it before that again? And didn't we hear it before that? I think the only coaching hire that, I think they fell asleep when they did it was John Fox. I think I've heard hype around almost all of the other ones, and we just haven't. I don't know, man. I got to see it to believe it, Pete. That's the thing.
About this for me, compared to, as far back as I can remember, especially in the 2000s, there hasn't been much talk about systems, right? Mm-hmm. Offensive systems or defensive systems. When Lovey came, he was bringing the Tampa 2. When what was his name? Trestman. When he came, he was bringing in the CFL go offense, right? When Nagy got hired, he was bringing in Andy Reid's offense. Every time that people have been hired, we've heard about a system.
Yeah.
There's been no talk about that in the last 2 weeks. It's been, we're going to build this around our players. Yeah, we're going to switch back to a 4-3, but there's been no talk of any kind of cover 2 or cover 3 or ghost shell or anything like that. It's just, we're going to build something that caters to our players' strengths. Which
wow. Instead of building a system and not putting the right players in place that will make that system actually work.
Right, exactly. And not changing the system to fit the players that we have.
Well, I'm not going for it yet. Nope. Because it's the Bears.
Of course not, because we can't trust anything anymore. We can't put faith in anything.
We are the us three right now are the worst I've ever seen all of us at the same time. It is not making for very good podcasting right now, and I'm sure that,
as evidenced by the fact that this show has 1 like and no comments. We never have no comments.
Hold on. Well, it's because Yaki's not watching.
We say
Yaki is always in the comments.
Always in the comments.
And where's the zombie hunter? Seriously, we even put out a special release of him on YouTube.
We should probably just reserve that Google number only for him.
I want to say he's probably playing Xbox.
That's
he knows
fine.
When we're on.
Yeah, we were late because you were using dial-up.
That's right.
That's true.
Rebooting
actually, I was updating my computer and I thought it would be done by the time that we were ready.
You're right, Elliot. It was an update. It was an update.
I told Ron, I said he's probably watching the line going across the screen. As
That's right. And then finally when it said installing, he's like, oh shit, finally. And then it said, got to reboot now. He's like, God damn it.
Shit. Yep. And then it starts doing the thing where the line moves and then it inexplicably starts going backwards. What are you doing?
That's not how this works.
That sounds like my career.
That's not how any of this works.
That's not how any of this.
It kind of sounds like my career. Oh, there it goes. It's loading. Oh, wait. Why is it moving backwards? Yeah, we are at our worst right now. So if we want to just talk real quick Super Bowl, we're not doing predictions. You know, we don't do that. The only thing I'm hoping for,
because we don't know what the hell we're talking
is
about.
I can't. I just don't want to see I don't want to, and nothing against Rams fans or the actual players. I don't care. I don't want to see Kroenke win a Super Bowl in his own goddamn stadium.
Oh, and come on. The Bengals winning it is a much better story.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's America's team on Sunday. It should be.
Yes. Yeah. Because here you go. The Rams this weekend are a Yankees team. They're trying to buy their championship.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's amazing, right?
They traded for Matt Stafford. They signed.
Yeah. Did you see him do any of that shit in the last 10 years in St. Louis once he took over? Hell no. He put the worst product. When you hire Jeff Fisher, need we say any more? You drafted like shit. You put a terrible product out on the field. They still packed the stadium, regardless of what LA fans say. They still had attendance.
I wonder if he offered Fisher $100,000 per loss.
That is great. That is absolutely outstanding. I mean, when Pete Rose can get banned from a sport for gambling a little bit of money when he was managing, and you've got an owner incentivizing a coach to purposely lose so you can draft higher, like, is that not worse?
And apparently he also wanted to tamper with Brady's free agency. He wanted Flores to I mean, it was obvious.
Yeah.
Right? You knew it was. Who else? What other free agent quarterback would you yeah. What other free agent quarterback would you take the chance that you would get slapped for tampering? Obviously it was Brady.
Yeah, yeah. It's outstanding. That is it any more Miami than that?
No. And you know what the best part about it is? Have you read the complaint? Have you read the lawsuit that he filed?
I read the cover page that Dan Lust
oh my God. It's a joke. It's not a legal filing. It's really not. It's so bad. It makes him look so bad. And then he makes himself look worse. Then he makes himself look
the
worse.
Lovie Smith thing, right?
By interviewing for the Texans job. Lovie Smith gets the job. And he bitches.
Yeah, and he said, I would have got that if it weren't for that lawsuit.
Right. So this is nothing to do with the color of your skin, Brian. You're pissed that you no longer have a job because you were a mediocre head coach at best.
And you probably, because he's done that, he probably has blacklisted himself and will not be hired for any. I mean, he might get a coaching job, but he's not going to get a head coaching job. That's for sure.
Nope. He's going to have to rebuild his reputation. And if he thinks that that's racist, I got two words for you. Jim Harbaugh. He got fired as a winning coach, and now he can't get back in the league because he's got a reputation that's following him.
Yeah.
The Vikings were all ready to hire him, and it's not like Bill Belichick suddenly fell into their lap. They just decided they didn't want to deal with the drama, and he's gone.
Yeah.
And so now Jim has to go back to Michigan with his tail between his legs. Developing a reputation like that follows you around, and head coaches in the NFL are hired to be fired.
Well,
every single one of them.
There are just a few exceptions. Belichick may be the only one, right?
In the modern era, yeah. Belichick, Tomlin, and I think that's about it.
Tomlin, forgot about him. Yep, there's another one. Yeah, so this didn't end up well.
How many teams has Andy Reid been with? Because he's been with Kansas City for quite a while, right?
Yeah, but he was with the
Philadelphia
Eagles
for
before
quite a while before that,
right.
too. Yep.
Yep.
And who was he with before that? I mean, he's probably been the head coach for 3 or 4 teams.
Yeah. I thought it was maybe like 1 or 2.
I've only known him
I
since.
just couldn't remember.
Yeah,
I know he has a big tree where a lot of coaches get hired because they've learned from Andy Reid. So
yeah, but they've kind of flamed out. They really haven't done much.
Every one of Belichick's underlings have done the same thing,
right?
Like none of them have.
You know that there's a part of me that is just really eager to follow the Raiders closely over the next 3 or 4 years because you just know Josh McDaniels is going to blow up again. He hasn't learned a lesson.
Yeah.
That thing is good, and it's the Raiders franchise, right? It's the Davis family. It's Las Vegas. Like That thing is just going to be spectacular. They seriously need to get the most milquetoast GM and coach for that thing to work.
Yeah, you're probably right.
They need Belichick, right? Because who has the most boring PR? His press conferences are awful. He doesn't answer anything. Like, that's what they need.
Steps
They
on the
can't
neck
have
of any
anybody
player
with
that has a
personality.
voice. Everybody be quiet, do the job. You're a cog in the machine. The machine has to work. I don't care if there's 5 foot of snow. You're coming. We're still having practice tomorrow. That kind of thing. Yeah. What's it going to be like when he's gone from the league? It's someday. I mean, it's obviously going to happen. But anyway, the Raiders. I don't know who I look at and go, this is a movie more, just Miami in general, or the Raiders. I don't know. Mark Davis has the best haircut I maybe have ever seen on a human.
At least since the end of the Roman Empire.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there were no electric clippers there. I don't know. Do you think he uses electric clippers on that, or do you think it's just literally a pair of shears and he goes across the bang so he can see it and that's it?
I bet. I'm sure he does it himself. Because why would he pay somebody else to do that? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. That guy was not blessed with looks.
And look, that team is such a disaster. Like, think about, I can't think of an equivalent team in any of the major sports. There is no team like the Raiders that is just a shit show every day of the year.
No matter how hard they try to fix it or serious they get.
Yeah.
It just...
Here's how bad it is. It was so clear that the football team in any given Sunday was modeled after the Raiders.
Yeah. I would say the same
right down
thing.
to the silver and black uniforms.
Uh-huh.
And you can totally see that
with the
happening.
owner.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. That's our football coverage.
We talked about sports.
Well, I tell you what. I know we didn't.
Should we talk about the book of?
Yeah, we are, or we can. But before we do that, it's important to stay protected. We all know how important that is. Sometimes life throws you a curve, and that's why you need Allstate. The Wiley Group has 2 locations in Festus and Arnold to serve you. They offer home, auto, boat, motorcycle, business, life insurance, investments, and so much more. They offer a customized approach that is unique to your situation to make sure you, your family, and assets are properly protected. They offer great rates and savings. You can give Sean and his team a call today at 636-764-6294. They'll help you get an insurance quote right over the phone. We all have busy lives, so you can email Sean at SeanWiley@Allstate and talk to him about your coverage options. And remember, you're in good hands with Allstate. Yep. What we're about to talk to kind of sucked. You know what else sucks? Buying a new vehicle. We all know it can be stressful, but it doesn't have to be. Fifth Street Motors, located in Pacific, Missouri, will help you find the vehicle you need no matter what brand. Fifth Street Motors believes in giving you the best price on a pre-owned vehicle that will fit your budget. Give Brandon or Dawn a call today at 573-259-1306 and tell them Gateway City Sports sent you. Onward and upward. Let's talk about something that won't be much better, but maybe we have more formed opinions.
Look, I will admit that I was Mr. Pollyanna when it came to this series.
Yeah.
And I was hoping for the best. And the last 2 episodes really gave me a lot of hope.
And?
I was watching this thing yesterday. And honestly, it was like, I'm watching these action sequences. And I'm thinking, this is the guy who directed Desperado? This is the guy who directed Once Upon a Time in Mexico. But then I remembered this is also the guy who directed Spy Kids and Planet Terror. So
he's not the one who directed the last episode of Mando season 2, was he?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I think that was what's her name?
Oh, darn it.
Bryce Dallas Howard.
No, she didn't
Wasn't
direct
it?
I don't think
thought
she directed the finale of.
Or was it Favreau? Maybe it was Favreau who did the last one.
I want to say it was Rodriguez.
Was it?
He's looking it up. I can see his eyes. I know what he's doing.
Yep.
Peyton Reed.
Shit. Yeah. Swing and a miss. 0 for 3. I just struck out on that one. Well, who directed this last episode? I don't watch credits, man. I don't like it.
Rodriguez
did.
Shit. Okay.
But you know what? But Rodriguez was the one who directed The Tragedy, which was a good episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know what went wrong here. Although, I mean, a lot of it was the writing. Like the writing was a problem.
It was all still written.
Throughout the series, the writing was a problem. And I wonder how much Favreau's heart was really into this.
Yeah. I tell you what, if I think about everything Boba related going back to The Mandalorian, right? Pete, you remember me talking about it. I had a little bit of a weird feeling of how they were presenting him in that whole thing. He was very cooperative. I get it. He went through, and we saw throughout the course of Book of Boba, he went through kind of a life-changing event. He got swallowed by a big anus in the desert, and got his way out of there. Sorry, a big anus with a beak in the desert. Found his way out. Was basically taken in by a Tusken tribe who didn't owe him anything. They could have left him for dead, but they accepted him. Gave him a shot. So I get it. He's went through a life-changing experience, but. Think about our minds and what we thought about this character, leading up to even before Attack of the Clones, right? We didn't know shit about him. He had about 90 seconds of screen time, and as Star Wars fans, they're fans of like anything sometimes in fantasy, sci-fi, whatever you want to call it. We like to peel layers of the onion sometimes ourselves in our own heads. Like we kind of like to fill that space in on what this character must have been like, But we always thought of Boba as cool and calculated. We don't like the onion peeled for us, and that's basically what happened here, and that's what George started doing a little bit too in Attack of the Clones. Started peeling that onion for us, and none of it's really worked for me. It just none of it ladders up to who I thought this character ultimately would be, and so it's just been a little bit of a strange journey. I wasn't sold on the Boba we saw in Mando either, in season 2. The way they did that teaser at the end of season 2, the way they did that teaser and what we ended up getting in this series, did it not throw you off?
Different.
Diametrically imposed.
Yeah. That teaser was actually like, that's the cool, calculated, ruthless Boba Fett I always thought he was. And we got nothing like that in the series, really. I don't know. I'm confused, man.
Yeah, and I'm not the least bit excited about there being a second season. And that's clearly what was teased in the post-credits sequence.
Yeah.
Is that there's going to be a second season of Boba Fett. And honestly, I'm not.
Well, the only glimmer of hope in it is that it sounds like he's not going to stay. Sounds like he's gonna give up being the daimyo
because he doesn't he's just not taking to the lifestyle.
Right.
Are you talking about Elliot? You're talking about the comment, a little bit of a comment. Sorry, let me get you back on screen, man. I took you off for some reason.
Yeah, no, all good.
Is it because of that comment? Like we weren't made for this bowing and all that says that line. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
It made me think that maybe we finally get off Tatooine. And maybe he goes back to his roots. Maybe it's that bounty hunting, but maybe he gets mixed up in something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would seem that they're setting up Cobb Vanth to take over, right?
Possibly.
Cobb Vanth cares about Freetown, and that could stretch further into the rest of Tatooine, I guess. But I don't know, guys. I definitely want to talk about the whole thing as a whole, Pete. I think that's what you want to do too. But can we talk about this last episode just for a second? Like some of the.
No, I mean that's what I want to talk about. It was just
a mess. It was a mess.
Far be it from me to claim that I don't like being a snob, but I really don't like being a film snob with this one. It was like the worst thing because I've taken so many film classes and I watched this episode and I was like, Jesus Christ, my son could have done better.
Some of the pacing stuff with like the speed.
The best action sequence came at the very end of the episode when Fennec Shand killed everybody in Mos Eisley. Why do we have to wait so long for that kind of tension and pacing? Everything was so goddamn plotting.
That should have been Boba Fett, by the way. And not Fennec doing that, in my opinion.
Well, no, but Boba Fett is more of a blunt instrument. That wouldn't have been the way that he would have killed.
But we don't know that.
Was absolutely true to character for Fennec. That she would pick them off one by one without being seen.
Sure, but I mean, isn't that who we thought Boba Fett would have been in his prime anyway? Like he was a bounty hunter. Always got his mark.
No. I would have expected Boba to go in guns blazing and take everybody out. That he would have been just such a badass that he would have taken them all out.
So I thought he would have been more of that bounty hunter who would have been a little bit more precise, so he could get in, get out, not really be noticed, seen, get his mark, and claim his bounty.
Like what Cad Bane was, where he would approach and outgun you.
Yeah. Well, okay, fine. I can go either way.
Cad Bane.
Yeah.
Has there been a bigger waste of a character than what they did these last two episodes? And the really frustrating thing is, he's not dead, because nobody is dead in Star Wars anymore. He's coming back. No, he's coming back. Nobody's ever dead.
Ah, shit.
Everybody comes back.
I think that's a mistake. I agree with you, Pete. I know what you're saying. I get it, because we've seen it before, right? When we thought it couldn't happen, the fucking Emperor Palpatine came back after he got thrown down a damn shaft.
That's true.
Maul came back. That was the one time that it's been executed well.
Yeah.
But everybody who we think is dead comes back. That spider general whose name I'm forgetting. He was dead.
Grievous?
No. The guy who's like a spider.
What the fuck?
He was in the first season of the Clone
Wars. Oh, the Clone Wars character. Man, you threw me off there. I'm like, Elliot, who's he talking about? Is there a movie I haven't seen? It snuck by me.
The one I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do. I do now.
We thought he was dead, and then he came back in season 7.
Well,
everybody has died and has come back. And I'm sorry, I don't want Cad Bane to come back. If you're gonna send him out like a punk like that, then just be done with him.
Yeah, because the way you introduced him was so awesome.
No,
it was great throughout that episode.
Yeah,
yesterday he was the best character in that episode until you killed him.
Well, here's the thing. I don't necessarily have a problem with them killing him, even the way they went about doing it. But I tell you what, though, if you talk about, let's look at the season as a whole. I was pleasantly surprised that we got one whole episode with the Mandalorian. And at the same time, guys, I was a little like, fuck, I want to see this in Mandalorian season 3. I don't know if I want to see it right now. Like, if Mando shows up in the Book of Boba Fett, they can imply what he's done, or they didn't have to tell that. I don't think they had to spend almost 2 episodes telling it. Like, I think they could have implied it.
Telling and not enough just showing.
Right. And
that was a problem with this whole series.
But I tell you, the introduction of Cad Bane, I agree with you guys. It was probably one of the highlights. It was probably maybe the one point of this whole series. I was like, oh shit, that's pretty cool. I didn't say that in a lot of other instances, but I thought that was actually a great introduction. And I don't necessarily have a problem though with the way they used him and killed him off in the last episode, right? I mean, there was something. Guys like us that have followed everything know that there's bad blood between him and Boba. It goes back to the Clone Wars. Novice fans aren't going to watch a lot of that. I know we didn't get the one episode that I think Cad Bane's responsible for the dent he has in his helmet, but we didn't see it. But Boba did take him out using not a blaster, using something that Cad Bane has no concept of, and that's a tribe. That's relying and trusting on others, and that's how he got the weapon that he ended up killing Cad Bane with. A little bit of symbolism there. I appreciate that. He was probably the coolest character in the season, I think, by far. I love seeing him in live action, although, truest nerds, he said he didn't look enough like the animated character, but there's physical limitations to an actor being able to look that way, so get over it. But I thought it was great.
I thought the coolest part was how they did his eyes. Those were it was just awesome.
Yeah. No, it worked. I think just about every choice they made worked for him. I loved it.
Yeah.
And honestly, the live action version of him was much closer to the Duros that we saw in Star Wars.
Yeah, in the cantina, right?
Yeah. Much closer to that than what was in the cartoon.
Yeah,
and look at most of the characters who have made the transition from the Clone Wars or from Rebels or whatever look great, vastly different from the cartoon to live action.
Well, it's hard. I mean, even Ahsoka looks a lot different. They couldn't physically, they couldn't make her Leku go that high and that straight. It was just impossible for Rosario Dawson to move around.
Well, and even the human characters, right? There was a style choice that was made with all of the human characters. Anakin, Obi-Wan, the Emperor, all of them.
Well, wait till we see Ezra or Sabine. We saw how they were animated in Rebels, which had a pretty, look at the Stormtroopers in Rebels. They all look different.
Oh, hell, perfect example. You had the same actress voicing Bo-Katan that played her live action. They did not draw Bo-Katan to look exactly like her. Yeah.
But I tell you what, they did a hell of a job casting her, though. I mean, that was a good.
I feel bad for her though because she's pretty much typecast now. She's only going to be able to get jobs in sci-fi.
Well, that started with Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, she keeps accepting those jobs. She's not going to get anything else now.
That's fine.
She's done okay. Well, she was in the Netflix Western show as a cop, even though it's kind of the same. But it wasn't sci-fi.
Same character, just not with lasers, with bullets.
That's right. She had actual bullets instead of lasers.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, just from a not even from a storytelling standpoint, just from an execution standpoint, this was terrible. I was so disappointed in what Robert Rodriguez put on screen. And there were rumors that there were reshoots done like literally in the last 2 weeks. It was so poorly edited.
I just feel like
continuity just wasn't there.
I feel like they pivoted at some point in mid-shoot, mid-season, where they just went in a different direction where they couldn't. Like, it's just so confusing how they used Mando and Grogu in this thing. Like, it just feels. Look, we're thrilled to see him, right? But I almost feel like they took the focus completely off of the Book of Boba, which this whole thing should have been about. It just stole from it, and I'm not sure why they did. Really curious choice. Was it brass at Disney that said, nope, got to have Baby Yoda in there? That's what the people want.
I was really looking forward to getting to the point to where Boba runs into the Mandalorian. I thought we were going to get flashbacks that took us.
Mm-hmm.
Are you serious? That's awesome. Somebody draw a dick on the screen, please.
Yeah, I don't want to do it.
For those of you who are listening, Elliot is frozen right now with his mouth wide open. He's back.
I'm hardwired in too, so I'm not sure what the deal is.
That was weird. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There's okay. Here's the nitpicky issues, man. This, like, I didn't want to have to, like, I wanted to hope I could watch this and not point stupid shit out, right? But I'm gonna have to do it now. Like, a war's coming. Like, the Pikes are coming, the Pike Syndicate, and you got Chrysanthemum hanging out at the airport with his rifle, standing right out in the open, keeping an eye on shit. Like,
no idea who that.
See, not like behind a wall or up on a building. Like, no, just fucking standing right out there in the middle of the airport. And yeah,
and 2 Gamorrean guards conveniently standing on the edge of a cliff.
Hey, where do you want to go? Let's go right here on the edge of this cliff. That's where if we get attacked, we're just gonna fucking fall off the side. It just takes one little shove. Or the
you can get us from behind though.
The Vespa people who are here they go putzing around on their little golf carts, and saving everybody. It's just so stupid. I mean, some of these choices are so dumb, Pete. And I don't want to have to call that shit out, but I have to now.
It felt like right when they showed the Pikes disembarking from the ship.
Yeah.
It felt like it was going to be this overwhelming force.
Like 20
and
people.
when all of Boba's allies showed up, it really did. It felt like
it's like West. That's right. It was like West Side Story, right? There's like the same amount of people.
It's like, really? That's all you got? You're getting your ass handed to you. But of course, the Pikes taking the absolute worst possible strategy in order to take them. They have overwhelming numbers, so let's send them out 10 at a time. Let's not overrun them. We've got like 100 guys. I understand you didn't have enough extras to be able to shoot it, but you use CGI for everything else. CGI in some, I mean, really, there was, and that was part of the problem. There was no threat because they were only coming 10 at a time. I think the 3 of us could take on 10 people attacking us if we had the high ground.
I mean, yeah, you're right, Pete, and that reflects, it's probably the limitations of the volume set that they're filming on, budget, whatever else. Like they can't afford the people to be there, but. But
they had enough money to CGI the Rancor acting like King Kong, which actually I did appreciate.
Okay, well, if you did,
I did like the nod to King Kong when he climbed up the tower.
I know, but I thought that was really cool. It was too obvious to me what the hell they were doing there. I'm like, okay, fine, you got a King Kong moment. He's gonna hold something in his hand, and he's gonna scream at the top of the dam.
It took too long for him to eat somebody, by the way. Way too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, would you bite someone, please?
He was going to grab, he was going to eat. And then when he tossed him, I was like, no, man, you got to eat him.
Exactly.
It took like 10 minutes for him to finally shove somebody in his mouth.
But so Grogu calming him down is the mechanism they use to stop the whole thing. And it's just, guys, I think the mistake was, like, I just hate the way they use those two in this episode. That little green guy, we all love him, but he shouldn't have been in this series. He really shouldn't have.
I was hoping we wouldn't see that decision until the beginning of
We shouldn't have, man. It's
season
just
3, and I was almost kind of disappointed that he chose the Mandalorian instead of choosing to stay with Luke.
Yeah. I mean, Elliot, the only thing I can point to is,
and then figuring something out where
and how stupid do they think that the audience is? They had to show us that he was wearing the shirt. No shit.
Obviously. Right.
No shit. You didn't have to do that. We're not stupid. We know that it's on under there. Otherwise, he wouldn't be in this fucking episode.
And then you have the comic relief female actor who's out of universe in her acting,
and gets her tooth knocked out. Hey, but at least she found a boyfriend. I'm telling you, she's gonna start dating the major domo.
Fine.
Because he's not furry.
Well, and that's another character that's completely talks out of universe and doesn't fit, right?
Although they at least made an attempt to explain why, because he went to a finishing school on Coruscant.
Okay, great.
Which is true. Have you ever met somebody who's gone to a finishing school? You like them about the same amount.
See, when I think of finishing school, I think of something else.
You think I'm a snob?
Oh, yeah, that's okay.
No, Ron, I haven't gone to finishing school.
You sure?
Yeah, I've barely even started. Self-taught. I'm a self-taught snob.
I have my own. I have my own self-taught finishing school. I learned that in college. Self-finishing.
Look, we could nitpick everything about an hour-long episode that we hated, and my son, I don't know if he got the vibe coming off of me. I didn't tell him that I watched it yesterday.
Yeah,
but something just told me that I needed to watch it, and he got here tonight, and I was like, "All right, so are we going to watch Book of Boba Fett?" I don't know. Well, it's an hour, so if we're going to watch it, we got to start it soon. Yeah, I think maybe we should wait. Really? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, when am I going to be overnight again? Monday. Yeah, let's wait until Monday. He must. I don't know if maybe he's force sensitive, or maybe he just felt the waves of disappointment cascading off of me. But he made a much better choice than the three of us did.
Yeah, I tell you what. But here's the thing: like, even my 10-year-old, we watched it, and he said that sucked. Like, those were his words.
What was good about it for you guys? What was good about this episode?
I can't come up with it, Pete. I guess
maybe the possibilities of what's to come next in season 3 of The Mandalorian. I think
they jumped the gun for me on that.
Yeah, but I'm still looking forward to The Mandalorian. But
that's the new Star Wars focus, right? That's the thing that's working for them the most.
I didn't hate the episode. I was just disappointed in some of the choices. So
I was looking for this episode to somewhat rescue the disappointment from pretty much episode 3 on. Now, I'm not saying the Luke Skywalker episode was disappointing. I just feel like it was out of place. I feel like the whole Mandalorian episode was just out of place.
Yes.
Loved them.
And now it's even more out of place because everything that happened, everything that was at stake in those 2 episodes has been completely thrown away.
Mm-hmm.
Because now Mando is not going to go to Mandalore to try and wash himself in the water of Mandalore, because now he's got to watch out for the kid, unless he's flying back to return him to Luke, which is not going to happen. Luke's not going to take him back.
What says he can't take Grogu with him?
No.
But how's he going to train to be a Jedi? That's what I mean. You're right. He's taking Grogu with him.
Oh yeah.
But that whole so Luke is so this great introduction of Luke at the end of season 2 of The Mandalorian culminated in Luke being a 2-episode babysitter.
That's basically it. Yeah.
Thanks.
That's a good way to put it.
That was it. He was just a babysitter.
Yep. Like, oh, you don't
didn't really teach Grogu anything.
He didn't like that daycare, so they pulled him out.
Yeah,
here you go.
Seriously, what did Luke teach Grogu? He still can't talk.
How to jump.
Yeah, he taught him how to jump. But he didn't teach him how to jump because he just force carried him along. That's a force power I didn't know about. That was pretty cool.
Oh, I was talking about the whole training droid thing.
I wish I had that for my kid. I mean, I don't need it now, but when they were little, wouldn't it be nice if you could just...
I'd like force ability just to move them out of the way that the door fucking opens instead of standing right in the door opening path. Like, what age do they get when they stop doing that?
Never.
I don't think they ever do.
No.
It's
I like
incredible.
Fennec taking out the I like Fennec taking out the leaders at the end.
Yeah, that was
somebody
a
had
great
to.
sequence.
I mean, there had to be a man of the show. Ended up being
That's right.
Fennec.
Somebody had to have some balls. And I alluded to it before. I did like the nod to King Kong with the Rancor climbing up on the tower.
Glad they didn't kill off Cobb Vanth. So
Oh, you knew they were going to kill him. Yeah. You're not going to kill.
I didn't think he was dead in the episode he got shot. I thought he got hit in the shoulder. Yeah. So I wonder what the I don't know. I wouldn't trust that fucker standing outside the back to tank. I mean, look, Fennec Shand had a like a 3/4 inch, maybe a 1/4 inch blaster hole in her gut, and this guy replaced her whole goddamn midsection. Like, I think he's a little like Dr. Kevorkian. Like, I think he goes way past
what's he going to do to Cobb's right shoulder?
He's going to replace his whole goddamn arm.
He might.
Yeah.
That's
hey,
not
wait a minute. Didn't he just have a little nick in the shoulder? Why is he sporting a whole new arm now, man? You're getting a little bit he's getting a little too excited. I wouldn't trust that guy to work on me.
Put in some work.
Yeah.
All right. So then overall highlights of the series.
Cad Bane.
Yep.
A live action version of Cad Bane. I think a surprising, I know you guys probably agree, the Tusken element I thought was way more interesting than what I would have thought. And I like that too.
Although honestly, if you want to go that route, and we'll get back to it, but if you want to go that route, how about just a Tuskens series, limited series, 5 episode, The Tuskens.
I'd probably watch it in the time that Obi-Wan was living out in the desert, and maybe yeah, sure, maybe a short or something like that. Like yeah, absolutely. But out of this series right here, I'd say the Tusken episodes I think were very, very good. I enjoyed them more than I thought I would, which was episode 1 and 2 basically. Episode 2 was fantastic. And then the introduction of Cad Bane, and even Cad Bane's parts. I don't know why he didn't join the fight earlier in the last episode. He decided to show up after they already had their ass kicked, basically. And he had some secret knowledge that Rancors are scared of fire, I guess. But see, another stupid thing I'm going to have to point out. But anyway, those two things are about it. Yes, love seeing Luke again. Love the Mando stuff. I just didn't need it here. I wanted it somewhere else. I didn't want it here. So it's where I land on this one, man. It's disappointing overall.
Highlights for you?
I agree with Ron on this. I mean, the introduction to Cad Bane was my favorite part. Seeing Luke and being on the planet and getting a little more of Ahsoka was good. Even though we didn't need it in Boba. That was kind of it. The Rancor stuff I thought was pretty neat. I mean, for the CGI stuff that they've leaped in the last year, it was cool to see that and to see it done well.
Which comes first? Is it Kenobi or Ahsoka?
Kenobi. They've announced it.
Great. So we're going back to Tatooine.
May 25th. May 25th.
Yep.
Guys.
Hope you like sand.
The Star Wars I don't. It's rough and it gets everywhere.
It's coarse. It's rough.
It is coarse. Look, as much as I love Star Wars, the product that Disney has put out since they purchased this, Rogue One and most episodes of The Mandalorian have been the highlights for Disney. I'd say this.
I'd say
And
Star Wars Rebels.
2/3 of season 7 of the Clone Wars.
The Clone Wars, and I will say that there is a lot that I really, really like about Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah, what is it? How is it's Filoni?
I'd say that what he's had his hand in the most has worked really well.
And he did not have his hand in this. You look at it, all he had was an executive producer credit.
Did he not?
He did not have writing credits. He directed one episode.
Yeah.
He probably co-wrote that episode, but he was nowhere in the credits other than an executive producer.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that he was, when Favreau called him up and said, "Hey, could we do this?" He was, "Oh, speaking of which, did you hear that there's no Lucasfilm credit or no Disney credit on Pablo Hidalgo's Twitter blog or Twitter profile anymore?"
Is he out?
Rumor has it he's gone.
Well, he was a dick. So
yes, and that's why.
He was a pompous dick. Really, really like started off humble, but the power got to his head because he has the authority. He knows he's in the know, and he liked to shit on people that had theories. So, bye. You forgot what it's like to be a fan and became a snob. So, I don't like to wish rejoice in people being let go from a position, but I'll make an exception for him. He was an asshole. If you just paid attention to what he said online to a lot of people, how he
earned the opprobrium of Star Wars fans.
And what the fuck was the story group doing anyway? I mean, honestly, story group, like I know Disney kind of put that in place, right? Didn't they put the story group in place to reset canon and make
specifically Kathleen Kennedy?
Yeah, to make sure continuity was there,
and to bless or not what things were canon. And they're the ones who led to the whole EU being erased.
Yeah. Which I don't have a problem. I never had a problem with them doing that. If they were going to, launch Star Wars in the future, they didn't want to have guardrails, restrictions of EU books and things that have been written. Like I kind of understand why they say, hey, this is kind of Legends material. I get it, and I didn't have a lot of heartburn. No, I invested a lot of reading hours in some of the EU stuff. I get why they did that at least, but I'm just like I'm kind of wondering, like, okay, so when the sequel trilogy directors and creators came on board, they not have to consult or talk to these fucking story group people at all, or they just get to run roughshod over anything that they might have. I mean, they might have had no authority over somebody like J.J. Abrams or any say or whatever. And I doubt J.J. had an idea and picked up the phone and called Pablo. Hey, is this okay? Does this make sense? Like, fuck,
so reportedly that was the last straw, was Pablo's leak that J.J. and Lucasfilm did not see eye to eye when it came to destroying Coruscant in Force Awakens. That JJ wanted the Starkiller base bolt to destroy Coruscant, and the story group said, or Lucasfilm said no, and so they came up with Hosnian Prime. But that had been kept quiet for 7 years, and then Hidalgo is the one who leaked that, and apparently that was the last straw.
Huh?
That was it for him.
Yeah, I heard there.
It sounds like
there was a bunch of stuff that Disney axed from JJ. Like there's a JJ cut that went deeper than had.
Oh, come on. JJ Abrams is not capable of going deeper on a story.
It would have been more of a mess, likely. I don't know.
Never know.
The one that you hear, I mean, if you believe what you read on the internet, and I get fooled by it sometimes, I think the Colin Trevorrow script that has been out there sounded like the one I would have preferred, obviously, but
I think that's been confirmed as legitimately his script.
Yeah.
Is his whole script out there?
Yeah.
You can get, I think you can get like you can get like the framework or whatever. I don't know if it's word for word, but you get the idea what they were going after when he was at the helm.
Did they?
I don't think it was the last script, but it was definitely one of the. It was not the first script. It was a working.
But that's
script.
the way it was heading, though, right, Pete? That was the storyline they were going to tell, and yeah. Well, I'd say the end of this Book of Boba Fett felt a lot like Rise of Skywalker did. You were hoping that the last movie, the last series, the last show would save, what was falling flat for you before that, and it sure as hell didn't. In fact, it made things a lot worse. They tried to. They didn't move the story of Boba long enough. They took a pause for a couple episodes, and then all of a sudden, at the last hour, tried to come in and wrap it all up. and make it all make sense. And it's a rough watch, man. This is one of the, most of the Mandalorian episodes, guys, I went back and watched them 2 or 3 times. I have only went back and watched that Cad Bane scene in this whole series. I've only went back and watched that one the most often. I haven't even gone back and watched the Luke episodes. I think I watched the Mandalorian episode, what was it, episode 5? I went and watched that again. Yep. I went back and watched that again. I thought it was interesting. But
I watched that 3 times.
I've not went back in this. I probably will not watch this last episode again. Unless I in a week I get so confused and don't remember what the hell I even watched that I might have to. But it's like Rise of Skywalker. How often do you guys go back and fire up any sequel trilogy movies?
I haven't watched it.
Not fucking one time, right? Like,
nope.
Not one.
No, I probably can't even count on my hands how many times I've watched 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah,
I honestly,
in the last 2 years.
I don't think that
you mean 7, 8, and 9.
I don't think that I've watched.
No, I'm saying 4, 5, and 6 are still the only ones that I.
Yeah. Same here. Yeah, same here.
Yeah, I don't think I've watched Rise of Skywalker since I saw it in the theaters with my dad and my son.
It's a shit show. Why would you?
Yeah. Yep. And going back to the Filoni getting it right, his credits for Book of Boba Fett. Series directed by Dave Filoni, 1 episode. Series writing credits written by 1 episode. And then executive producer.
He's supposed to be creative director, though. That's like his thing now, right?
Yeah, but that's where the executive producer credit comes in on this. But Favreau had writing credits on all 7 episodes.
Yeah.
I think that tells you everything you need to know.
It does.
Filoni wasn't involved in this. He was too tied up in Ahsoka.
Yeah, you're probably right.
He was available.
And that's probably the answer.
He was not involved with this one.
Yeah, and it does
and
show.
The 1 episode he directed was the one Ahsoka was in. So, of course, he directed it.
Yeah. Well, I'll say that, obviously not everything Favreau touches in the world of Star Wars is gold, right? Like, got off to a great start with Mandalorian. But it really takes the tandem of those two together. And ultimately, it takes Dave Filoni guiding this ship to where it needs to go. And, with Filoni, you're going to have the filler episodes. You're gonna have the pause mid-season where everybody gets to take a breath because there's some dumbass astromech story arc or something that you're not interested in.
But it's a calculated pause.
It's a calculated pause. You're absolutely right. There's a direction. There's a reason for it. And Favreau's not there with that yet with Star Wars. He doesn't know. And so we saw the product of him being left to his own devices to make a series that just, at the end of the day, it fell flat for so many people. We're not alone. People that...
And you know what? It's exactly what we talked about last week, and that I was guilty of, right? I was willing to bet that it was going to pay off because I was betting on Filoni, but he wasn't involved in this series.
Yeah,
he just wasn't there. So no, it didn't pay off because it didn't have his touch on it until he takes over Lucasfilm. Until Disney finally says, "Dave Filoni, you're in charge."
Yeah,
it's not going to get better.
You just send us a check every year. We're going to stay out of your affairs.
Yep. Yeah, until that happens, it's not going to get any better.
You can take your stupid Galaxy's Edge that nobody cares about Batu in Disney. We wanted to see Hoth. We wanted to see the real Cantina. We wanted to see something that Star Wars fans could relate to that's been part of the culture, part of the mix, instead of Batu that's never been seen on screen. And I'm sorry, Star Wars Resistance doesn't count.
And do you remember, Ron, you remember when this first came up and we were talking about it? What were we speculating about? Man, wouldn't it be awesome if they had a different Star Wars land in all kinds of climates, not necessarily tied to Disney parks? And so you could go to Tatooine in one, you could go to Hoth in another, you could go to Dagobah in another. It'd be amazing. So you go to Florida, perfect place for a swamp planet, perfect place for Dagobah. And then you go out to California, perfect place for a desert. It'll be phenomenal.
Or you got the Redwood Forest out there, man, like the Ewok Village.
It could be Endor.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Nope. We're going to do the same thing, only a little bit smaller.
Black Spire Outpost that nobody fucking knows anything about unless you've read a book or you watched Resistance, which nobody liked.
If you were going to do that, do it at one of the parks.
Sure, yeah.
Right? Okay, fine.
Why would you not want to be like Star? You know how we are with Star Wars fans. We're crazy. We're nuts. We'd go to both. Like if there was, to your point, I think you're making, Pete. If there was only Endor and Tatooine out in California, but then there was Dagobah and Hoth in Florida, fuck, we'd be going to both. Like, take my money.
I'm going to be out in California at the end of the month, and I'm going to be meeting up with friends, and we're talking about going to Disneyland one day.
Yeah.
And we'll get the Park Hopper pass, and we'll go between the two. There's not a burning desire for me to go and see Galaxy's Edge because I've already seen it. And I've seen the bigger one.
And you know what you want to see? You know what you'd get a kick out of? Seeing actual original trilogy stormtroopers walking around.
Not First Order.
And you're going to see First Order. You're going to see a Kylo Ren. Ooh. Well, we already know
Rey.
You're going to see Rey. You're going to see
and they're going to do the same act that I've already seen them do in Orlando.
Yeah.
Everything is going to be the same.
Yeah.
Thanks, Disney.
Any more cheer we want to bring to the listeners of this week's show? This is, by the way, so folks, we are in the worst shape I've ever seen, all three of us. We all look like shit, by the way, on camera. So I'm so glad we're streaming.
Are you kidding? I look fucking spectacular.
You look younger.
Did you get some shower for this show?
I am angry, and I look spectacular when
I
I'm
got to put Pete on the main screen here. I don't know why I
am
so.
a goddamn beautiful man. And you know it.
Wow. Snob with his MacBook Pro. That's how he ends it tonight. Let's see. Just take us out from there. I can't.
You can't top that.
Let's go. Yep.
If you enjoyed your episode, and who didn't enjoy this episode, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to help spread the word, please give us a 5-star review. And do tell your friends to subscribe. We're available on Rumble, Facebook, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you listen to podcasts. Also, be sure to check out the other Gateway City Sports Network podcasts, including the Derek King Sports Show, 2 for 3 with Moose Michaels, Yacker Jacks, XFL, STL, and End the Cards with A-Train Arlington Lane. Send us an email at show@teamrivalspodcast.com. You can find Elliot on Twitter at
TOR_Elliot.
And I'm kind of reluctant to give you this prompt because it's only going to last for 2 more days. But Ron, where can people get their final shots in at you?
Well, evidently, Elliot fixed this a little bit, and I'm going to have to walk this back just a tad. Pitchers and catchers don't report till Tuesday, which is the 15th. I know that I stated the 12th.
Okay, fine. Ron, where can people get their final shots in at you for the next 5 days?
You know what, Pete? The more I've thought about this, fuck the people. I'm not even going to tell them. Listeners, go fuck yourself. You can find me on Instagram at my name. You can find me on. Don't find me on Facebook. In fact, don't talk to me on Facebook. Don't even look at me on Facebook.
Ron, why are you taking the Disney approach to the audience? Or the Pablo Hidalgo approach
Fuck the
to
people.
the audience. The internet is not for feelings.
It's not. If pitchers and catchers don't report because baseball can't get their shit together, I've already said it, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to hold to it. I'm going to delete my Twitter account, and somehow I'm going to have to figure out how to get those 500 followers back. And I don't know how people rack up thousands. I really don't. You got to be extreme. Like you got to do it. You've got to, you pay for them, or you glue that phone to your hand and you tweet out every thought you have throughout the day, and people have to be entertained by it.
Because they're all gems.
Fucking hard.
Everybody wants to know what you think. They're gems, man.
I don't know. There was a day that I loathed Twitter and the thought of Twitter, and I respected other media, expected other things more because you had to actually own your shit, right? Like you at least had to put your face or your name to what you were saying, and that's why I hate Twitter. You can hide, nobody knows who you are, and you can do all kinds of shit. You can be as mouthy as you want, which most of those people that are as mouthy as they want to be are not like that in real life. They're living a fantasy on Twitter. So I've always hated it because you're allowed to do that in the platform. So I'm not going to be that torn up about deleting this account. In fact, it's probably going to be a fucking relief. I'll just exist on our home feed that you see right there under your chin, Pete, at Team Rivals Pod. If you want to find me there, fuckers, find me there from now on. Don't look me up. God, I'm bad tonight.
That's all we got.
It's the worst show we've ever done.
This is the best show we've ever done. It's been the most honest. Life sucks.
Get over it.
Life sucks. Get over it. Aaron Rodgers is the NFL MVP. How much worse can it get?
Fuck him.
Just put an exclamation point on this shit show tonight. That is great. Aaron Rodgers MVP.
There you go. It's official.
What a douche.
I'm going to send that guy Omaha steak. Fuck him. And fuck
Thanks
all
for
you
joining
guys.
us, folks. We'll see you next week with a Twitterless Ron Nuttall.
All right, everyone. We love you. Yeah. We love you all so much. You can all bite me. Bye-bye, everyone.